Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, we're going to talk about something that the SNP don't want to talk about, and that is, of course, a grooming gang inquiry. The Tories are now calling for it. They're saying that it has to happen, and further, they're talking for an introduction of a thing called Suzanne's Law. That would block the release from prison for any killer who refused to say where the bodies are. This happens occasionally. They don't want to give families closure. Well, that's fine, but they rot until they do. Now, the Scottish Government really don't want an inquiry. One can only speculate as to why senior members of the SNP don't want an inquiry into the abuse of children, and why John Swinney, for example, is so keen to avoid this. I'll leave that gap. You can fill that with your own thoughts. But they're saying that the government's flagship justice bill is just a sham unless the changes are made. Legislation is expected to go through, I think, this week coming, the end of this week. As in the end of this week, as in now, today being Sunday, this week coming, which will see the end of the not proven verdict in court. It would also make improvements, of course, to victim notification scheme. To be fair, that is there. That is something that needs doing, and they are addressing it. But it's very small and very short of really what the victims and the families of the victims often need. The law, Suzanne's Law, that the Tories are calling for, is named after a woman called Suzanne Pilley. She was murdered by David Gilroy back some 15 years ago now. Her body has never been found. And of course it means that her family will never know where it is. They'll have no closure. If you heard a noise back then, that was my dog attempting and failing to jump onto a sofa that's beside me. He's made it now. But as the final vote is approaching, it's called the Victims, Witnesses and Justice Reform (Scotland) bill. It approaches, and like I say, the Tories are pushing for their changes. They're also, as I say, pushing for the inquiry into the grooming gangs that the SNP are very much against. Presumably, one can only assume, and it purely speculation on my part, and I'm not offering any accusations to any particular person, but one can only assume that the reason so many in the party are against any kind of investigation or inquiry into the abuse of children is so many of them were possibly involved, allegedly, maybe. So they don't want those particular skeletons coming out of the cupboard. There are many things that need to be changed. There's many steps that could go through, and yet whilst they're doing small little steps here and there, a little nudge there, a little shape somewhere else, some of the big steps that should have gone through in this bill have been completely ignored. And one suspects it's deliberate, simply to protect themselves, their reputations, the reputation of the party, and to keep certain people within the party out of jail. Let me know your thoughts, as ever, and we will speak very soon. Goodbye.